Another amazing episode. This time we got a special guest who's about to drop some gems and help y'all secure the bag. Make sure y'all join the conversation by going to the
m4show.com.
Yes, ma'am. And of course, make sure y'all follow us on Instagram at
the M4 Show.
Queen, should they like and subscribe or something?
Most definitely. You should definitely go do that like right now.
Yes, make sure y'all like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you are listening to this episode. We appreciate you. It's free, so go ahead and do it. And it is your first move on being a millionaire. Now, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's introduce our guest for today. Beautiful people, we are back here, the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. Thanks for tapping in with us, and a special shout out to today's sponsor, the Forever Legacy Group, operating out of Marietta, California. Shout out to the IE, shout out to Riverside County, all that beautiful stuff. This group, what they do is they help you create your online documents and legal matters where it comes to living trusts, when it comes to probate court within California, when it comes to just making sure your family maintains its wealth, its properties, generation to generation to generation. So if you're interested in protecting your family, creating a living trust, a revocable trust, or handling business in probate court, head to theforeverlegacygroup.com, and you can use the promo code FLG-the M4 show for a special discount. You know, we got your back, y'all. Create your trust. We got your back. You can also follow them on Instagram at the Forever Legacy Group, all spelled normal. Now, Queen.
Yes.
Today's episode, we're getting into retirement planning, long-term investing, which I think is very important. Extremely important, especially to start early.
Yes.
But before we get into that and bring in our esteemed guests, do you got a little did you know for people today?
I do. You know, speaking of starting things early, did you know that muscle strength, strengthening your muscles, resistance training can actually be a very powerful anti-aging effect? So muscle loss and frailty, we tend to think happens naturally with age and with time. And typically that's not actually due to aging. It's actually due to lack of use. So when you think about the phrase, you move it or lose it, that is absolutely the case with your muscles. So it's extremely important to make sure you prioritize strength training. There was actually a study done on postmenopausal women that showed that consistent resistance training for 1 year increased their muscle strength by 19% after just 1 year. And this increased their bone mineral density, which is one of the effects of aging, or one of the markers of aging, and defends it against their, against brittle bones. So overall, what's shown in studies is that physical aging can actually be slowed with increasing your muscle mass and the strength of your muscles.
Y'all better get in the gym. That's all I'm saying.
Look, this can be body weight activities. This can be resistance bands. This can be free weights, machines. Anything that adds that extra resistance to your muscles is so important, especially to start now, right? To start now, today, to start at whatever age you are, so that your older self will thank you. So invest in your muscle strength, invest in the ability of your bodies to move, and the ability of your bodies to do what you need to do. Go to the grocery store, pick up that can of beans, pick up your groceries, take them to the car without having to struggle.
I hope you are watching this. The dancing is just...
This is me when I come in with my groceries. But long story short, definitely prioritize strengthening those muscles at any age. It's so important and can actually help you age slower.
Beautiful. There it is. So in addition to making sure you age slower, we also want to make sure that when you do retire, when you're 60, 70, 80 years old, not only do you have amazing muscles, but you, but you've also have an amazing retirement strategy and a retirement account, so you can continue to live your best life even in retirement. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans, when they reach retirement, their quality of life goes down because they no longer have that income anymore. And we brought a beautiful, amazing melanated couple, one of my mentors, to come in and talk to y'all specifically about strategies that they've used for over 20 years to build up their retirement portfolio, and some lessons and tips that y'all can take from their experience. Queen, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm excited for this one.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a good one. Okay,
Yep.
well, folks, without further ado, let's get into the episode. Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
And welcome to the M4 Show. All right, let's bring in Sandra and Tim Ham to the show. How y'all feeling today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I do want us. We're gonna get to retirement stuff, but you know this show is all about Black love as well. So we can't bring y'all on here without getting a little bit of the love story. And I'm very interested to know, where was y'all first date?
Ooh, first date.
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun. Let's see. So our first date was back in college. I couldn't actually tell you the particular production, but we were at Zellerbach Hall on the UC Berkeley campus. And that had to be 1989.
Yep.
Had to be 1989. That was our first, I guess you can call it a date, or our first hanging out together, or our first public sighting. However you want to say it, but 1989 would be the number.
And we worked together at the Moffitt Undergraduate Library. We were stacking books together. So we knew each other at that time, which was so interesting. The funny thing is that our supervisor, who knew Tim very well, said, "You're going to marry him." And I was like, "What? He's sort of quiet. I don't know if I want somebody super quiet." Right. And lo and behold, she was right on the money. You know, she was right on the money in terms of that. And we had an incredible courtship in college. We were good friends. And last weekend, we celebrated 23 years of marriage and 33 years of friendship. So it has been a incredible journey.
I've been with you more than half my life.
I know.
Right. That's beautiful.
Oh, wow. Goals.
Right. Goals for real. Can you talk about real quick the importance of friendship within the marriage? The fact that y'all are celebrating 33 years of just being buddies.
I liked
friends.
that addition. I liked that addition because I think that's so important.
I'm gonna let you handle that one.
I would say, I think what has made our marriage strong is the fact that we were friends for a significant amount of time. We were able to be in college together. We were able to learn each other, and our love was based on friendship, right? We were able to sort of share common values and joys together. So I think that is what I would consider our secret sauce, that we were friends for so long before we got married. I think that was an important part.
Extremely important. I'd also say just it's different, I think, as a friend versus a girlfriend, in the sense of getting to know someone. There's no hidden agendas. Everybody is totally transparent with one another. So I think that just that whole other piece of friendship prior to intimacy definitely creates a very strong chemistry nonetheless.
Yeah, I like that point on adding, like, when you're friends, I'm not trying to get anything out of you, right? You get to know just the raw me, the Devon, the Tim, the Sinclair, like you just get to know me. And then from there, all right, you know what? We can elevate this to the next level.
He was my study partner. We would study together. And I think that made it good, though. There was nothing tied to it. We just grew over time.
Nice.
Yeah.
And in that growing process, did wealth conversations or future conversations come up, whether it was during your friendship part or when y'all actually started courting each other? When were like some of the first early conversations of what I want my future to look like? And I hope you're a part of this,
Right.
but this is where I'm going in my future.
I would say Tim talked about it a lot, because he would always say, I'm not paying nobody's rent, right? Like he was clear about that, and also very humble that, how old were you when you got your first property?
22.
Wow.
22, right? So at a time when it probably wasn't as popular, we decided like we're going to get ahead. We're going to stay at home because we both went to Cal and lived in the Bay Area, right? And I'm grateful for our parents' wisdom to say, if you want to get up in life, you stay home, save your money, invest it, and then have something, right? So in hindsight, that probably was critical to setting us up for success, as opposed to we want to get out our parents' house, we just want to do our own thing. That we had that comfort in our relationship, and also to say we're going to go back to school, get our master's degrees, set up debt free. So I think that our parents gave us that footing that we are eternally grateful for, to say, this is how you get ahead, right? You might think this is how you get ahead, but this is how you get ahead, by saving. And I will give Tim credit on this one. We would save each month what would be rent. This is pre-marriage, in a mutual fund that grew at a fabulous rate. And we pulled right before we got married. So that set us up for success. That in hindsight, at the time, I was like, why are we putting this money away? We're not married yet, right? But you got that inkling. But he was steady and smooth on it. Like, this is what we need to do.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
I'll tell you something interesting. The day that I moved out of my parents' house was my actual wedding day.
Wow.
So up until that point, again, it was like the saving, dating, courting, all that stuff. But just in terms of really wanting to be serious about establishing some type of financial background, being able to just know the importance of income, and really, just trying to still navigating through life, but just really just trying to understand the importance of what savings is all about.
It seemed like you all had a very good head on your shoulders in terms of, at a young age, knowing the importance of delayed gratification. And we talk about that a lot, of like, sure, we're young, we could go and spend this money now, but right, you said like, we're gonna, whatever we pay in rent, we're gonna take and put into a mutual fund, which I didn't even know anything about that at age 22. So what do you think attributed to that mindset at such a young age?
Great question. I think for me, it was, I know, at least being around I can't even say the circle I was in, because it was really just family. But my family circle, just in terms of talking about the importance of education. Education and money kind of went hand in hand, in the sense that you need to be educated enough to know about money. You need to know the difference between wants and needs. You need to know the difference between making a sacrifice and not having to make a sacrifice. And just watching my parents, my grandparents, family in that small, tight-knit circle, that was always important. That was always important. Just I can't say that we talked about what's your investment strategy or things like that, but it was more so just saving. And although nowadays banks don't, there's not really in terms of saving that banks offer in terms of interest, but it was just a matter of, you need to have that rainy day fund. You need to be able, that if something came up or if something happened, you need to be able to support yourself in terms of moving financially in that direction. So that's really what it was about.
Tim, I think it was similar. I think it was both. My mother sacrificed so much for us that in the back of my mind, I was always geared towards what it means to work hard and have something. I think the other thing that I was blessed with is that I had uncles and aunts that were entrepreneurs that had acquired property and had aspirations in businesses. So even though you don't think about it now, that made an impactful difference. When I was young, I would go to my Uncle Jim's store in the summertime and work at Jimmy's, right? Like, my uncle owns this, right? Like, he had multiple businesses when people weren't owning businesses. And so now I laugh when he had talked about other properties. I'm like, wow, Uncle Jim, I should have taken advantage of that. But that foundation of the long game, right? It is a marathon, not a sprint. And to underscore the notion of delaying a little bit for a long-term benefit. And I think that's something that we were instilled in our families, and we try to instill that in our sons and the people that we touch. And also to gain, similar to this podcast, what it means is if people have knowledge to share it with others, right? So who has been successful that we know to ask for advice, to say, what do you do, right? So I think it is not only if God has blessed you that you share what you know and your wisdom, whether it's finance or education, right? You don't keep it to yourself. So I think that's something that we have always strived for.
Oh, yeah. And the word that's coming to my mind is just exposure.
Yeah.
Right. Just being exposed to the conversation, maybe not getting into the nuts and bolts all the time, but being surrounded by people that are talking about saving, talking about entrepreneurship and seeing that. So what I want to do is try to expose some folks to retirement planning and maybe some specific pathways that they can take. Miss Sandra, me and you've been on the phone and you've given me game. And we on the phone for like almost 2 hours, just give me game on just insurance plays, mutual fund, getting a wealth strategist, just investing in real estate early. So I want to help see if we can spill some of that game that you've given me on the phone over to the podcast. Starting off with, you talked about mutual funds. If this is somebody's, first exposure, thank you, Queen, to what a mutual fund is, do you mind kind of just high level, what is a mutual fund and how does one invest inside of a mutual fund?
So a couple of things. We were fortunate enough that we had a really good friend who was a good financial advisor that said, Sandra, you all are putting your money in a savings account that is getting little to no interest, right? In a mutual fund, you're investing your income to have a higher return, right? And so at that time, when Tim said, when we were in our 20s, rather than just putting it in our Wells Fargo, we picked a mutual fund. I can't remember it now.
It was 20th Century Ultra.
Right.
I remember.
Nice.
And it probably had like a 20% yield at that time.
So we were fortunate right before it yielded. So we're like, bam, right? Had we just, again, not knowing and been like, okay, what are we willing to risk? And we learned from that to say, okay, that set us up. We got married in August. We bought this house in October.
Wow.
Right?
In the Bay Area.
That we had that foundation. The other thing that I will say is, and Tim was probably more disciplined about this than me, is that don't go broke for a one-day wedding. Right? Yeah. And so you have to be realistic to say, this is one event of our lifetime, but we're going to invest $20,000 on one day, and maybe it could be just as beautiful with 10. And then I have a nest egg, right? So here you've spent, everyone has pulled their resources together to give you this incredible wedding, and now we don't have anything to begin our journey together, right? So that, I think, is the first important advice. I'll let Tim say how we were strategic on saving for our family in terms of a 529, what we did a month after Timothy was born.
So I mean, there's several different strategies. I mean, one is that obviously just putting money aside for a rainy day. We all know that, and it's depending upon one's budget. It's depending upon what you're able to save. You know, we all kind of know what our household expenses are, what we have left over. What we choose to do with those reserves is totally up to us. Mm-hmm. So whether that goes into a bank account, whether that goes into a mutual fund, whether you purchase, life insurance and life insurance more so with an annuity where you're even able to pull out money at some point in time.
Hold on, Sam. You going
dropping
quick.
the word, the gem.
You're going real quick. So I'm gonna rewind. One, have a budget. That's something that you said, right? Mm-hmm. You need to know what your household is spending money on, how much you have to invest in a mutual fund. Next step number 2 is put that money somewhere, save it into some type of long-term vehicle. And then you mentioned life insurance and annuities for people who maybe this is their first exposure to what life insurance is. I know for me, for a long time, I promise you, I thought life insurance was a scam. I just did, because all the people, like, they would always call, they would knock on the door. Everyone that I knew that was selling life insurance, it was a little iffy. So I was like, I'm good. Until finally I talked to Sandra and she was like, no, meet with this wealth financial advisor, go through these steps. You need life insurance. I was like, okay, I trust you. Let's do it. But I don't think everyone's exposed to that knowledge. So if you don't mind just breaking down life insurance and annuities for folks high level.
Can I take it a step backwards even before that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Right. So as Sandra talked about financial planner. So I would suggest sitting down with a financial planner, and that could be someone that's in your local bank. That could be someone that you just kind of pick up the phone and you find out that this person can kind of help you with wealth. And when people think of wealth management, they kind of think, oh, I don't got nothing to really, I don't have nothing, so why am I going to meet with a wealth manager? Well, it's simple. It's because you're building wealth.
Facts.
So what you're doing at that point in time is you're sitting down with that individual. And for us, I think maybe one of the first questions was, okay, so you're 30 years old. When do you want to retire? At what age do you want to retire? What is your yearly income at this point? So it's taking a bunch of information that you have, sharing it with that individual. They then kind of come back to you with, this is your net worth. This is how much you owe on your home. This is how much you owe in student loans. It's almost like a real live credit report based on your personal finances. At that point, you kind of see that there's disposable income available. Okay, however much money I'm bringing home, I have an extra $2,300 a month that's just kind of sitting dormant. That's haircut money, is shoe money, it's whatever. But with that extra money, now you tend to think of a way of what are avenues in which I can save that money. Now, talking about life insurance, I want to break it down kind of in the most simplest form. Life insurance is simply, it can be a way to replace income, not only income, but more ways, a way to kind of assist a family in need. If just something catastrophic happens tomorrow, you're able, by having life insurance, you're ensuring yourself that you will continue to have, if not more, the same income available with the loss of your partner. And it happens in various ways. I mean, there are policies that are $50,000. There are policies that are, up to millions of dollars. It all depends on what you want and what you can afford. Yeah. But for the most part, it's something just kind of necessary in a sense to think about, if something were to happen to me, how would my family continue to survive without my financial contribution on a monthly, yearly basis? I still want them to have the same quality of life, if not better. So you look at that as being a tool to kind of simply help you as you start to plan for your future. Maybe the family is okay financially, but now the next step of that is thinking, how am I going to be able to pay for these children to go off to college? That may be another realm to think about in terms of insurance for the most part. But again, it's
one of many parts, but not the whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
The key thing for us was we got it at 30, right? Early on, right? So we can check that box, right? That we've done that. We've put that aside for if for something catastrophic would happen, we have that. And the fact that we got it younger, then it's cheaper, right? Than when we're older. So again, and as we think now about how we plan, it's about what things do we want to have in place. So early on, we had a person, okay, it was like maybe $20 a month. Boom. Okay, we now have that insurance. Check that off our list on the long-term game. For Timothy, when he was born, a month later, Tim said, again, our financial advisor, someone that we trusted, someone that we asked around, who do you trust? We said, we want to ensure that we have money set aside for Timothy to go to college. Similar to what Tim said, our financial advisor said, what are your goals, Sandra? Where do you envision Timothy might go to college in 18 years? Is that a Stanford? Is that a UC Berkeley? Okay, we think at our best guesstimate, that might be $150,000. That's our goal to get to, right? We opened up the 529. We put a little amount every month. Timothy knows if he gets money, it goes to your 529, right? Nice. He's always not happy about that. I have to put it in there, right? But that's what he's been exposed to, an expectation. Fast forward to now, our financial advisor, you're on track to exceed what you have done, right? So you start early, right? And then we said, can he use it for studying abroad? They're like, yes. Could he use it for high school tuition? Yes. Again, not knowing at that time, we just said, we want to put something away so that he knows. And we also share with him, like, we want him to, it's important for our kids who had more than what our parents were able to give to understand hard work and sacrifice, to say, we have sacrificed for you on this. Your job is to do the very best in your schoolwork, to get A's. That's your job. But to understand that they too have to learn to sacrifice. And maybe when Timothy was 12, you had him set up a E-Trade account.
Right. So we started looking at, okay, what are your homies doing in school? You know, what are your, and I simply like, you know, do you ever talk about, you know, stocks with your friends, or what do you guys talk about at lunchtime? And, you know, at that point it was kind of like, it was a little foreign at 12, but at 13 it became so real because then the conversation was like, wow, you know, a lot of kids are buying Adidas. A lot of kids are playing, you know, video games. You know, everybody wants to go to Disneyland. So it's like, okay, well, the things that you support, things that we're supporting, let's look into the stock market and figure out how we can purchase stocks that now you become a very small owner in some of those items. So we looked at Nike, we looked at Disney, we looked at Tesla, which at that point was, you know, it's just skyrocketed.
It's a startup.
But as we speak now, we're in Lucid. Lucid is kind of like the come up behind Tesla. You know, it's going to be another awesome invention, biotech. So we started to look at different things, and it's something that I have him manage. You look at you make sure you're taking a look at this weekly for the most part. You know, Dad, we lost $30. Dad, we earned $50. You know, we earned $50. I'm like, okay, I want you to just look at it, just to understand that this is a long game. It's not a short game. You know, you earn $100. You're like, Dad, can we sell everything? No, we'll keep it in. We'll continue to see what happens. But also, I want you to continue to kind of, you know, check in with your buddies, check in with your friends, see what they're seeing, see what they're hearing. You know, because and interesting, we went to a school event couple months ago, and two of the kids had actually created a simulated game based on the stock market. So my first question to one of the kids was that, if I gave you $5 grand, how could you get me 20 back in 6 months? And he kind of started laughing. But then he after he thought about it, he started telling me all these different things that I should do. And Timothy was like, "Dad, you're gonna do it?" I'm like, I just wanted to see what his advice was, but it was a way to start getting him to thinking about, what is the long haul? How can we make this work for us? But it's just I can't stress enough, man. It's all about education, knowing what's available, learning about what's available, and trying to figure out how it can work best for you. Everything is not for everybody. Some things have a lot more risk than others. So are you a risk taker? If you're not a risk taker, then some things you don't want to get involved in. Are you more, do you consider yourself more of a moderate investor? You have to figure out what you are, where you're at. But for the most part, it's definitely the education, just figuring out how to learn about what's available and how to move forward. We both have 9 to 5s, and in my 9 to 5, when I meet a new employee, the first thing I'm saying is that max out your retirement plan. Put as much money as you can in your retirement plan from work. And they're probably looking at me like, why would I do that? And I'm like, well, okay, yeah, you're only 25 and you're just starting. But if I could tell you what's going to happen in the next 5, 10, 15 years, you'd be surprised to know what that money is going to turn into or what it's going to look like in terms of your simple investment now. So those are, we've all had family members that at some point in time have tapped into us about, if it's one thing, what would a 50-year-old me tell a 20-year-old me?
Yeah.
Save as much as you can. That's one piece of advice, but I mean, there's several pieces of advice. But when it comes to money, I would say save as much as you can. I could probably brag and say I'm probably one of the only folks that I know in my 50s that has never owned a pair of Jordans.
And that's not in your retirement plan, huh? You're not gonna buy just one pair.
It's not in my retirement plan, man. It was never for me in terms of I'm gonna spend $150, $185, $250 for a pair of shoes. I'm not knocking it. It was just something that I couldn't fathom in terms of working hard and trying to know where I wanted to go or what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that we learned on sacrifice is the best car is a paid off car, right? So I think
amen to that.
After we got married, I don't think we've bought very few brand new cars. We might do 2 years, but to say, again, what is the best investment? We want a car that's paid off because that's reoccurring every month, as opposed to it's paid off, I want the next new shiny, right? So for us, the driveway has 2 Volvos. My last one was 12 years, right? 13 years. So I've got more than what I anticipated, but it just goes back to, as Tim said, your comfort zone and priority. Say that to me is more important.
Yeah.
No note than having the best new shiny thing.
Oh yeah, the queen knows about that sacrifice. She's been rocking this. What you got?
I have a 07 Honda Accord passed down to me by my dad.
Stunning.
Paid off. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
I have never had a car note in my life. And
there you go.
It feels pretty good to say that. Although I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm ready for a new.
Yeah. We got you. We gonna upgrade you. But I love how this, it started off thinking about just your own retirement as a married couple, but then it's a trickle effect, right? When you start to think about your own long-term wealth and your own long-term strategy, it trickles down to actually creating wealth for the next generation, right? And we talked about life insurance, being able to take out whatever you can, so that, you know, unfortunately, death is unavoidable for all of us, right? Until Elon Musk discovers something else.
None of us get out of this alive.
None of us are getting out of this alive, right? So you might as well be able to pass down $500,000, $1 million, $2 million to your kids, so that instantly wealth is now created for the next generation. You talked about starting 529 college savings accounts for your young ones as early as, you said, 2 months.
We were like a month in, man. When we started, we didn't even have a registered Social Security number. we had to go back and submit that later.
Wow.
It was too new.
Wow.
We just got the papers ready, sent them in, and got it rolling. Then had to go back and register the Social Security. But as early as you can, man. And I'll tell you, it's interesting because also with that, one of the things that we did is, okay, you know, you get all the toys, you get all the books, you got all the trains that, you know, all the trains and all that stuff. So basically now at that point, you tell the family, hey, you know, we don't need clothes. We don't need extra video games. We don't need shoes.
Cash.
I'll give you the link to the 529.
Yep.
You can just send it directly to the 529 and put happy birthday from auntie, from uncle, and it's automatically there.
Love that.
We can't touch it. It's education only. So hey, it's one of those things that, you know, you're just able to do, and kids don't like it, but it's really a very wise investment if you're looking at the soaring cost of education on a yearly basis. It helps. It helps big time.
And Devon, goes back to your earlier question. Like, that's the best investment that we can make, right? So we said, both is it a sacrifice, but what we are going to splurge on, right, is giving our child the best education possible and exposures and experience. Like, that's for us an indirect investment. That sets Timothy up for success on the long haul, which is important.
Love it.
I think he'll definitely appreciate, you know, graduating from college and not having to worry about those student loans that everybody, right? That's such a stressor, and, you know, affects kind of what the pathway that folks have to go after college. So
you're absolutely right.
I think it's definitely going to be able to put him in another mindset of like, okay, what do I want to do? Right? What do I want to do now? How do I want to contribute to the world? I love that. I absolutely love the very intentional things you all are doing for Timothy throughout his, you know, at a very young age, all the way up through, you know, him growing up, to make sure that he understands the value of money, how to, you know, hard work and those sacrifices, that delayed gratification. I really love that. I also really loved the, like, I mean, what are your friends talking about? Like, what are you interested in, and have that be what you invest in? Because I know that that's one thing that, you know, Devon talks about in when he's teaching the youngsters, right? Is like when they're talking about stocks, I feel like sometimes it can be kind of an elusive thing at a young age, but he always likes to bring it back to like, well, what are you wearing? Like, what shoes are you wearing right now? You should be investing in some Nike stock. Then what Apple, what kind of phone do you have? You should be investing in Google or you know,
Alphabet.
I was going to say, thank you. Alphabet, Macintosh, whatever it is. So I also really love that. Just very intentional things for the mindset, which I think is so important, so that they understand why they're doing the things that they're doing, so that when they grow older, they can appreciate that, they can continue to educate themselves to make sure they're doing the right thing, but also pass those things on to their kids. I feel like it's so intentional and so just fantastic. Love it.
The more you know, the more you owe.
Right.
So you know, you just got to keep the wheels moving, keep moving in the right direction,
and be okay at times to. I think when we look back now of those things that we did that were risks, I think on rental property, those were all risks that in the end paid out, but at the time it was nerve-wracking, right? And so those are things now in hindsight that worked well.
Definitely. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit here. Can we talk a little bit about Gotta Have It art? Let's talk about what that is, how y'all started that together, what does that look like now, and how that has played into this wealth strategy?
You got it.
Absolutely. So, Gotta Have It Artworks is a business that Sandra and I started actually 24 years ago, I would say. No, 23 years ago. 23 years ago. And what it was truly is it was birthed out of our love for art. I can't live without art. I've discovered that I'm a artaholic. I love art. I think Sandra is the same. We're both artaholics. I have to see paintings. I have to see pictures. I have to see something visually pleasing to me. I just can't live without it. And in doing so, we found ourselves purchasing, all types of posters, prints, anything that we could really afford that we were able to kind of make our house beautiful, pleasing at the time. And during that process, we had purchased, I want to say, so many things from one particular gallery that the gentleman basically said, hey, you're buying so much stuff from me, you and your wife. I appreciate it. I appreciate your business. At this time, it was even friendship. I appreciate your friendship. And he started to mentor me in terms of art. And when I say mentor, it was almost like we'd have a daily lunchtime conversation as it related to artists, mediums that they use, history of art, how he got to start his own business. And it kind of turned into, have you thought about, running your own business? And I, at the point, didn't really think about it. But then and this comes into investments also. He started talking about, well, this is a way that you can create additional income for yourself. And at that point, I think the light bulb kind of clicked on additional income. Wow, okay, let's figure this out.
Speaking your language now.
You're speaking my language. How much we talking?
We're elevating culture.
Yeah, how much we talking? But more importantly, it was from just the love of art. That's what it birthed out of. And from there, we started kind of our own business where we were selling, posters, prints, paintings. We were slowly developing a client base. Everything was pretty much birthed out of family and friends at that point. Family and friends would give us referrals, would share information. Then over 23 years, obviously, something that you're passionate about, something that you were pouring your all into, something that you're 100% invested in. In my opinion, you really have no choice but to be successful. If you've birthed it from the soil and you were 100% invested in it. So with that being the case, we've just continued to grow yearly in terms of working with various artists throughout the United States, providing custom framing, consultation, not only for organizations, commercial businesses, but consultation for friends, family, clients that we work with on a regular basis. To the point of now, it is still a part-time passion, but it really feels like it's a full-time endeavor because it's something that evenings, weekends, can't sleep at night. What am I? Let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can work on. Let me see how I can market, more to the masses. So it's just one of those businesses, but it's an African American art business, is what it is. We don't have a website store, but we are very active on Facebook and Instagram in terms of our advertising, in terms of our client base.
And also, I would add, it's also important for us to always give back to our community. So one of the things that Tim and I have always done through our art business is do art shows and give a portion back to the organization, whether it's community-based organizations, sororities, fraternities for their scholarship funds. Those are things that are important, and if you have something that you continuously give back. So that's something that we are passionate about as well.
Oh yeah, make sure y'all tap in. It's at Gotta Have It Art on Instagram. Tap in, follow, and definitely tap into the vibes of Black excellence and Black art. we actually had the opportunity to come up. It feels like it wasn't that long ago, but I feel like in
It
real
was
life,
years
it was
ago.
like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
wow. Yeah, well, we went up to Northern California, got to see the vibes. We purchased several art pieces. There was coasters. There was, let's see, athletic memorabilia, paintings. There's all types of really cool stuff. So definitely make sure y'all check it out.
And I love that it was really birthed out of your own interest.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that we talk about a lot here is like, if you're going to create a business, the best business to create is something that you are already doing or something that you would do for free, right? Something that is you're very passionate about, so that when times get hard, you really have that anchor of like something of a reason to keep going. Because if you're just doing something to chase money, you know, the minute it gets hard, you may jump to something else that's going to make money. But, you know, you have a passion for art. It's something that you enjoy. It's something you have in your household. And now you have created a business to allow other families to also, you know, express that passion and benefit from that. So I love that it was really birthed out of your own interests and passion.
So, y'all are very intelligent people. I got a really hard question that I want to ask y'all, right? The queen knows my answer. But do you think that every Black couple or family should have a business?
I think it's let me back up. Yes, and I'm going to say
We can stop it there. Oh, perfect. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, I'm the reason I'm saying yes is because, as you know, as you all have traveled to various regions of the United States, even when you go to, you know, certain parts of your own city or town, you have Chinatown, you have the Asian Pacific market, you have
Little Italy.
Little Italy. You have different parts of town that people go to, and those folks go there to support their businesses. We don't have that African American hub in our community. Intentionally, we support African American businesses, whether that means that I have to drive extra 10 miles. I pass maybe 5 dry cleaners to go 10 miles to go to an African American dry cleaners. In terms of when it comes to purchasing books, you know, there's a Barnes and Noble's the next freeway exit. But for me, there's an African American owned bookstore in Oakland that I'd prefer to go to. So we have to support those businesses. But the reason I say yes is because we're all in small silos. We're all in small communities. If we were able to own our own businesses, we would be able to support one another in a local economy versus having to go 10, 15, 20 miles out to support. And you would still support those businesses, but you'd hope other people would support those businesses as well.
Right.
So indeed, I mean, it's something extremely obtainable. We are very talented people.
Very.
And everything that, you know, other businesses are doing, they've been conceptualized by folks that look like us. So why not be able to support, create our own businesses, whatever it may be, absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that is the perfect answer. Thank you for that.
We get mixed answers here, but I love that mindset. And to your point, like there are communities that have these hubs, right? It almost seems like you're referring to like a Black Wall Street of sorts, you know, like we firmly believe that
there you go.
That is something that already existed and can exist again, but it does take that intentional mindset and execution of supporting those Black businesses. Like you said, even if it means going out your way a little bit, right? It may not be the most convenient thing. It may not be the cheapest option, but it's that intentional, I'm going to support this business because it's Black owned, right? Yeah. Whenever we travel, the first thing he's always doing, like find the Black owned restaurants around here. That's where we're going. Yep. And you know, I'm not going to lie. I'm not always happy about it because it's like, oh man, but I found this one that has 5 stars and I really want to go. Right. But I always,
you know, I like the same way. Like, where are the Black restaurants? We're going there first.
Right. Yeah.
New city, he wants to support them.
got to.
And I think it's also supporting with the mindset of like not asking for a discount or a family friend, right? I think that's another thing that we run into and we hear from a lot of like Black entrepreneurs is like, support me without needing a discount, without needing a friendly or family discount, because you're not doing that when you're going to these other companies, right? You will pay full price for the Jordans.
Louis V fully priced.
Full price, right? You wouldn't walk in the Louis V and ask for a discount. So support those Black businesses with their full price, right? Full price. That even that just transfer of funds, that transfer of energy says that I support you and I'm going to pay the full worth and full value of your product or service. And I feel like that mindset is going to really change our communities and build up that wealth, create the next Black Wall Streets, right, around the country. So I love that mindset.
Shay. So we know y'all been sitting in the hot seat for some time now. We want to give y'all a little bit of a break. Got to enter into our Ask Declare segment where you all can ask us questions about business, entrepreneurship, health, or our love journey. We are a fairly open book over here.
Fairly.
Ready? Go for it. You got the first question.
Oh, first question. Okay.
So obviously both you and Sinclair are extremely passionate about your endeavors, right? You all just celebrated your 5th anniversary. When you look for my 3, it feels
we had 3. It feels like 3 going on forever.
Yeah. We appreciate the manifestation, though.
There you go. Yeah. I'm already there. What have you learned as you look back on your own personal journey?
That's a great one. Queen, you going first or second?
You know I'm going second.
Okay. So I'll try to make this quick so that the queen can go. But I think I've learned the need and just how important communication is, right? Because I think from when we were 18, she was 17, we had, certain expectations. We had certain, I think, exposure to what a relationship looked like. We had certain expectations of what a marriage could look like as a teenager, right? But now we're 29, 28 years old. We're grown now. And our expectations should have changed. But unless we bring up those conversations again, there's no way for me to know what she expects out of a husband. No way for me to know how do I correctly, and I'm still working on this one, to be honest with you, Miss Sandra, but how do I correctly balance business and being a husband, like those two identities as an entrepreneur, but as also a husband and caregiver. I need to learn what she needs within both of those realms. So for me, just communication and actively not avoiding the awkward conversations that need to be had to make sure that both people are kind of, feeling heard and getting what they need within the relationship.
And I would say one of the main things I've learned throughout our journey together is just the difference of like when you've reached a crossroads, when you've reached a debate or, something where you don't agree on, the difference of needing to be right and the difference of versus doing what's best for the unit. And that's not always the same thing. And I feel like early on in our relationship, I was so bent on being right that it would put the conversation would end, and it's like, well, I feel like I'm right, but now we are in an awkward place for the rest of the day, right? Or I know that he felt some type of way. I can tell he's feeling some type of way about how I handled that situation, and it's like that was not the best conclusion for us as a unit. And I feel like as we've grown as people, as we've become married, now we really do see ourselves as like a we. It's now my mindset has definitely shifted on like, okay, put your own needs right second. What is the best thing for the unit? Declare. And those aren't always the same thing. And I think that really switching that mindset has been a game changer for us. I think we're in a different place now than we would have been if I stayed with that mindset. And I feel like that's a natural growth of just getting older. But also I feel like because we met young and have been able to mature together, it has been a clear difference I've seen in myself and how I interact with Devon specifically. So yeah, I think that that's one of the biggest changes I've seen within myself, but then also us as a unit is for us both focusing on what is going to be the best for us now and our future family. Yeah, and that's how we operate.
Great.
Well done.
All right, my question. So the Black Wall Street business, the Black Wall Street brand.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourselves in the next 5 years with your brand?
Ooh, great question. So we have in early 2021 and maybe 2020, with the whole world shifting, right, was a great time for us to really look at our business model, look at what we're doing, Play Black Wall Street, and figure out what is a long-term business strategy that can not only be good for us, but that we can bring in other people. And it's not just about our family. We're also able to hire other people as well. So we had the beautiful opportunity in 2021 to start doing mentorship and financial literacy courses within LAUSD and within Riverside Unified School District. And within the next 5 years, we see Play Black Wall Street as the #1 source for financial literacy mentorship within California, if not beyond, right? We want to be in all schools within LAUSD, all schools within Riverside, Oakland Unified, come talk to us. But we're really trying to make sure that, specifically high school students, possibly middle school students, are in active conversation about entrepreneurship, active conversation about opening up an E-Trade account. They know what stocks are, they know what mutual funds are, and they're exposed to wealth. They're exposed to entrepreneurship so that they can get into that earlier. So that's where we see ourselves in the next 5 years with Play Black Wall Street. Specifically within education, we want to take over California and just be that.
And I'll just add that that was a very natural progression. It's not something we anticipated necessarily when I think like we were starting the game. Like, I don't know that he was creating to be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great when we take over California and they're in all the schools, right? We were just like, man, we were like, we want this game to be in everybody's household. Like that's how it started. And then we naturally saw the progression of like, okay, what are folks learning from this game? How can we expand on that? Right. He started creating courses. He has so much other things in his brain. So we started creating the courses, started Play Black Wall Street Academy, started educating youngsters, seeing what that can do, right? The businesses that were actually created and are thriving right now from that. And how can we now scale that to the next level? It's been a very just natural progression. I do want to take a step back. Oh, it's right here. For those who may be tuning in for like the first time and are wondering what we're talking about Black Wall Street, the board game. Devon here is the creator of it. And, I helped bring it to life. And we together are the creative team behind Black Wall Street, the board game. So it started here and has now progressed into educational programs, mentorship programs, after school programs, and things like that. So you don't have to have the end goal in mind. You just need to start, and the universe, God, they kind of show you what's next, right?
Yeah.
And the opportunities that come and present themselves after you really get going and put your feet to the ground and put the work in.
Oh yeah, 100%. Great question. We love dreaming, and we can talk about our dreams the next 5 years for another 3 hours, brother Tim. Best believe we love the manifestation talk.
50 to 60% of our conversations.
Oh yeah, 100%. Let's see, for you all, not to put age in anything, but you're getting close to being able to be free and live your retirement. I'm interested to know what in your head, talking about manifestation, what does retirement look like for y'all? Or what do you want your like true retirement to look like? What's the daily grind? Are you traveling? Are you still in the Bay Area? What does retirement look like in your eyes?
For us, I think retirement is about freedom to do the things that we're passionate about, to be able to travel, to be able to I know for me, I really want to lean in to be able to do even more for students and families on what it is, the pursuit of higher education. So that's something that even in retirement is something that I'm committed to doing. But we just want to travel and give. Tim, I know, will be even more into his art. So I know that's what keeps him up all the time, but other things than that.
So yeah, to answer that question, it's going to the mailbox a couple times a week and being able to pull out checks.
Mailbox money.
That's it. That's it. But more so, I think it's going to give us an opportunity, like Sandra said, to travel more. Hoping that even in that opportunity, we'll still be able to purchase property. One of my goals, honestly, if we can pin down college, prospective colleges, is looking at property in those respective towns, versus living in a dorm, renting an apartment, having our own duplex, triplex. The families are actually paying us for their children to go to school in that respective area. So that's one of the things that we're very passionate about, and we're looking at college related towns as we speak now, even in California, of being able to do that. But just enjoying each other, man. Just enjoying each other. I still see us on the grind because that's just kind of our nature in terms of being busy people. But busy people for ourselves. Busy people for ourselves, and I think that's something we're gonna be able to enjoy.
Love it. I think Tim's love language is money. I'm pretty positive his love language is money.
That's funny. Out of curiosity, where are some places that you want to travel? What's like the top maybe 1 or 2 places on your list that you want to travel?
I think we definitely want to go to Africa. I think that's something that's on our top list to do with Timothy. I love warm weather. I love to go to Paris and Italy, but I think our first is to go to Africa. We want Timothy to have that experience and exposure. I always love the Caribbean, so that's always my default. But in terms of where I have not been, I definitely that's where I would like to go.
Nice.
Love it.
And that's 100%. That's what we're planning to get to.
Yep.
Going back home.
I love that you also mentioned real estate being one of the things that you continue to do even now, right? You've got decades of wealth building, and you're still looking at other avenues to add on to. I mean, you've already done real estate, but like especially on the investment mindset, I think it's important to have your hands in many different wealth building strategies, right? I think that's one way to be recession proof. I think that's one way to just make sure you're really securing that wealth for the future generations, is to have it in different streams, right? Different avenues. So I love that as well.
Oh yeah. Well, if you haven't tapped in already, make sure again you follow Sandra and Tim Hamp on their Instagram. Gotta have it art. Tap in with them. Buy yourself an art piece, a coaster, a mat, a poster. So go ahead and buy you some. A little rhyming scheme. But go ahead and buy yourself some black art. We're gonna get into our updates for the week, and then we're going to come back to you all for it's been tons of nuggets, honestly. I hope y'all have been taking notes. You rewatch this one, but we're going to end it with you all giving us just one more bit of advice or wisdom that you have for specifically newly married couples, right? They just got married 3 years ago, last week, yesterday. What are some bits of advice or wisdom that you would have for that couple? Queen, updates for the week.
I'm going to switch gears, and I'm going to talk about the Play Black Wall Street campaign that we have coming live this upcoming Tuesday. So we've got Rose and Rodney, the animated series, another kind of side, not side, it's really becoming a main here. But another thing that has been birthed from the Black Wall Street, the board game, was the animated series, The Black History Adventures of Rose and Rodney, which is a children's book right now. And we are campaigning. We are doing a Fund Black Founders campaign to turn it into an animated series. So our campaign is going to go live this upcoming Tuesday, which is, I think, the 30th, August 30th. So whatever date you're listening to this, hopefully it's still live. August 30th, go to fundblackfounders.com/playbblackwallstreet and support our campaign. Share it with as many people as possible. Yeah. We got Kim Coles, aka Sinclair from Living Single. That's where my name came from. So, I love that we got her. But yes, definitely help us reach our goal and be able to do a full season. Hopefully 2, if we really surpass our goal. Our stretch goal is to be able to do 2 seasons of Rose and Rodney. So please go and support that. The link is right here.
Yes. And funny enough, in that video is a painting that we got when we visited Gotta Have It Art. So we appreciate y'all. When y'all watch the video, you're going to recognize the paint that's in the background. It's a paint that we got from your studio. So we appreciate you.
Yep.
Great.
Beautiful. And then on our side, our Play Black Wall Street, that was going to be my update. You over here taking...
Oh, my bad. Usually you have a whole bunch of other things, so I was taking one off your plate.
I was trying to zoom in on Play Black Wall Street because I realized that we talk about a lot of stuff on this podcast. And, my mentors are telling me to be a little bit more targeted in where you lead people. Right. So I will say, following up with Play Black Wall Street, our goal is to be able to support your students and scholars with their financial literacy and Black history knowledge. So if you are a principal, a superintendent, a teacher, and you want to make sure that your students have access to financial literacy and mentorship, go ahead and go to playblackwallstreet.com, fill out the form on the contact us sheet, and this beautiful queen will probably be the one that gets back to you on us coming out and doing a workshop or setting up a mentorship program at your high school or middle school. One quote that I really like to continue to say, and it's my own quote, so it's kind of vain. I apologize for this, but it's money only multiplies the motives that's inside of you.
That's a good one,
right? So money is in itself is not intrinsically evil, right? It's a tool that you can use to do a lot of good in the world. And I think growing up, me seeing wealthy people, seeing rich people, it was always like, oh, they're rich. Oh, they're spending their money on this stuff. They're not helping people. And it gave me a kind of negative association with wealth. But we want everybody who's watching this, y'all are going to be wealthy. Your families are going to be wealthy. Your children are going to be wealthy. Money is not an evil thing. Money only multiplies the motives that's inside of you. So take these nuggets that the Hams gave you today, take the nuggets that we give you with the board game and other things to figure out what good do I want to do in the world? What purpose do I want to serve in the world? And how can the wealth that I'm creating serve that purpose? And that's what we're doing with Play Black Wall Street. So again, head to playblackwallstreet.com, get yourself a game, or reach out to us so that we can engage and empower your scholars.
Real quick, shout out to Linda watching, who said she is enjoying the topic and guest. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Linda.
Let us know if you got any questions.
Oh yeah. Okay, we're gonna pass it back off to Sandra and Tim to close us out. We again appreciate y'all. Y'all have given a lot of nuggets to us as individuals, and then for coming on the platform and being able to share it publicly. We greatly appreciate your time.
Great.
First off, thank you for having us.
Yes.
We appreciate it. This has been fun. Again, we just appreciate being able to share information as much as possible. We kind of have a circle of folk that mentor us. We mentor. It's more like a circular type of thing, but in terms of just being able to share this information, I think it's been fantastic, and hopefully it'll reach those individuals that it's intended for, to really kind of learn, motivate, and just truly have some additional ideas in terms of being able to move forward to put their families in the best situation possible.
I want to thank, we enjoyed it. And also my 2 bits of advice or words of wisdom is just to think about setting those goals, right? What are those goals that you want to achieve for your family, and begin to break that down. We talked about a lot of things which can be sort of intimidating, but what are the things that you want to achieve? And then how do you begin to put those steps in place? And then also just like you're doing today, ask people around you to share their journey or their wisdom. One of my closest mentor was the one that said, always invest in Disney, right? I didn't know that was something foreign to me. And she's like, it's recession proof, right? So information should share out, right? To the community. And again, just set goals and take those steps, and you'll be successful.
Love it. There it is, y'all. Take action on the education you learned today. We appreciate you, Ham family. And thank you, listeners, watchers, viewers, for tapping into another amazing episode, number 126 of the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. We're 126 in. Let's keep it going. I'm your host, Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
Make sure y'all secure yourself. Make sure you secure the love. And of course, make sure you secure the bag. Peace. Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them, wherever you're listening, go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all